Alright guys, it is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly. We are back to preview another Manchester derby. But before we get into it, please do make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. Trying to get to 900 subscribers, so anything you guys can do to help us out with that would be absolutely fantastic. And leave your thoughts as well in the comment section down below, your thoughts, your predictions going into the game. Make sure you do let us know in the live chat as well if you're watching live. But this is the Manchester derby preview, the Manchester derby semi-final. We take on Man City at Old Trafford. As a big chance to get into a final, a huge chance to get ourselves into a final. I see the comment. I haven't got the comments up actually. Naveen, thanks for joining. Naveen, appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. I'll let you know my thoughts on that player as well that you mentioned in your comment yesterday that I saw. Thanks for letting me know about that. And if you guys have got any suggestions for streams as well that I can include, feel free to comment on for other videos I've done, or even just leave a comment in this comment section now if you've got any ideas or any kind of suggestions. I'm always open, so thank you so much for support on that, and thank you very much to anyone who gives me any sort of suggestions. Really do appreciate it. But we're going to get straight into the preview because we've had a bit of the preamble. We're going to get straight into what you guys are here to talk about, the preview, my thoughts going into this game, and also your thoughts as well, because your thoughts are the most important on this channel. Welcome Kobe as well, appreciate it. And Matt says, nice sweatshirt. Thanks Matthew, appreciate it. I wonder who bought it for me, as I stroke my beard. But let's get into it. We're going to talk about Man City first. We always talk about the opposition, and Man City have been quite impressive recently, coming to this off the back of a very good 3-1 win against Chelsea, where they absolutely blew Chelsea out of the water, and with no recognised striker as well. Not a single sight of Jesus or Sergio Aguero. I think Aguero was actually on the bench, but I don't think he was used in the game. But no recognised striker up front for Man City. Kevin De Bruyne was playing the false nine role, but it worked to a T. You have to say, it worked to an absolute with Pep Guardiola, winning 3-1 against Frank Lampard's Chelsea and putting a lot of pressure on Frank Lampard. And I'm sure if you've been on social media, you've seen all the memes and all the talk about whether Frank Lampard's going to lose his job. Obviously, he's still in a job, so it seems like he's got the backing for now, but who knows? The football world changes and the situations can change in a flash. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that, but as of now, we'll focus on the Manchester derby. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Man City fans will be slightly worried. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm not sure if that's going to make United fans overconfident. But I think Man City going into it without some of the players like Ederson, like Kyle Walker, it might be a struggle for them. Easy as it has been in previous times they played Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, the last time they played us at Old Trafford, it was a walkover. They won the game 3-1. We got our goal towards the end of the game, which actually gave us a little bit of hope, and we nearly brought it to penalties with a 2-0 win at the Etihad. Unfortunately, we only got a 1-0 win, and we went away feeling like what could have been, what might have been. But hopefully this time we're going to get the job done. Obviously, a legged affair as well, so it's a one-legged tie. So we just got to see what happens. We've just got to see what we do, because one of those games where we can just play really open, get battered, and say, second leg. We can't do that. We've got to win on the night, and whatever is decided on the night will be the result that gets carried forward to the final. The team that wins on the night will go through to the final. So no second chances. As a Man United teams go, this Man United team seems very good at competitions, except when it gets to the semi-final stage. Once it gets to the semi-final stage, we have to bottle it 3 times under Old Gunnar Solskjaer in the FA Cup semi-final, Europa League semi-final. We have bottled it, pretty much. We bottled it. I can't remember we've been in another semi-final as well. I can't remember if we have. But we've bottled it numerous times in semi-finals, and the Carabao Cup semi-final as well last year against Man City. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is yet to get to a final of any description. I was going to say just a what would you call it? Like an English final, a domestic final. That's it, a domestic final. But any final in general, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has never been to a final. He's kind of like the Jurgen Klopp thing that he had, where he always seem to get over the line in tournaments and never win. He's always a bottler. And Ollie has got a little bit of a name for being a bottler, actually. So that is something which we've got to get over, and hopefully Ollie does get over once we beat Man City tomorrow, hopefully. Kobe says, Wan-Bissaka can close down Sterling, and Luke Shaw can pocket Mahrez or Foden. That's got to be the way. We've got to perform well. There's no doubt about it, Kobe. Owen says, and thanks for joining, says, I've had so much bread I feel bloated. Got any advice to get rid of this feeling? Nature will take its course with that one, I reckon, mate. Matthew says, have to start De Gea. Sorry, Hendo, but this isn't a charity. Well, I'm not sure. Obviously, you look at the league, you look at, the fact that we need to have as many fit players as possible. And David De Gea has been performing well for us recently. But I don't think Dean Henderson, even though he didn't have the greatest of games against Sheffield United, I don't think he's a bad replacement for David De Gea, and I don't think he should be kind of left on the bench to have no game time. I think I would not be that worried about Dean Henderson getting a start in this game. I'd actually probably welcome it because he's got a lot of talent. We've seen what he can produce at Sheffield United, and even at this season, apart from that Sheffield United game, he's actually been pretty good for us this season. I don't think he's really put too much of a foot wrong. So for me, I just don't think that I don't think we should be too harsh on him. I think it's so early in his Man United career, and he can perform for us. He really, really can. Owen says we're actually going to have to face shots on target this game. Hendo would be best. Please go to Stretford Paddock if you want to be a top red. Don't say that. We need as many people as we possibly can on this channel. Don't be saying that, mate. Don't listen to him. Please do not listen to him. Please don't listen to him. But yeah, so for me, I think I'm happy with both. But I wouldn't mind seeing Dean Henderson, especially as a cup game. And I've seen a lot of United fans kind of writing off the cup, saying we need to go for the league. And I feel like it's quite early on in the season to be doing that, considering the final's in April. So even if we get through to the final, it's not like we're playing the final before we play Liverpool at Anfield or anything like that. We'll have another few months to wait before the final. So I don't think people should be worrying about it too much. So for me, I'll go for this competition. No reason why not. I'll go for it. So if it's Henderson in goal, whether it's De Gea, they're both capable of putting in a very good performance and both capable of keeping a clean sheet. And that's the beauty of having depth in a position, is that it doesn't matter whether it's your backup or whether it's your first choice. You've got good enough depth to get the job done. Whether Man City have with Stefan, obviously Ederson is out because of still isolating because of COVID, so Stefan is going to be in goal. So yeah, I'm not sure. He hasn't been tested yet, has he? He hasn't really been tested properly. So hopefully we can do that tomorrow night. So look, we'll see. But that's the beauty of having having some depth in that position. Burrito, Rashford and Adam, thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Adam says RIP Ollie Stevens. Yeah, RIP, mate. Burrito, Rashford, thanks for joining. Says resting Bruno wouldn't be a good idea. Well, this is the dilemma, isn't it? Obviously, we're going to get on to whether Bruno Fernandes should be playing in this game. Obviously, when you've got Paul Pogba and when you've got Donny van der Beek, you feel like at some point, we should be resting Bruno Fernandes, because it's not like we don't have the tools to rest him. It's not like we don't have the tools to not rest him. You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like we need to be thinking about resting players and using our squad to the best of its abilities. Because someone like Donny van der Beek hasn't really been able to have too much time in the team, and yet he's probably been one of our best performers when he has performed. So it's something which is quite annoying, really, that Donny van der Beek isn't getting on the pitch still, and it's January. So for me, I feel like we need to start using it at some point, and maybe the cup competitions is the perfect time. We have Watford, of course, on the weekend, so maybe that's the time we rest players. And also, it's a cup. Carabao Cup is a cup. Obviously, everyone's talking about a Mickey Mouse trophy, whatever. But at the same time, we do need to be thinking about whether we go for the cup or all out go for the cup, or whether we look to go for the league. I mean, I say we go for both. Personally, Kobe says, I heard our top 5 transfer targets are Alaba, Ben White, Upamecano, Badiashile and Pau Torres. Yeah, I mean, I've heard obviously all those names. I feel like most of them are centre defenders. I And I think, yeah, realistically, centre defence is where we need to purchase, or make our next purchase, I should say. I think probably, realistically, it'll be more up the street of Upamecano, because I feel like he's the guy we've been monitoring for most of this time. Alaba as well could happen, but I think in January, we've got a pretty good record of signing players that make a difference. But I think with this COVID situation, I do not see us signing anyone in January. I really don't. I feel like, they're going to use the excuse of, lack of funds or the market isn't right. But realistically, we need to, we need to start exploiting this market because we have the money to exploit it. We need to start exploiting it and buying players in that we know will change the game for us, because we did it with Bruno Fernandes and we can do it with somebody else. And I feel like if we back the manager properly with a centre-back, we could go for this league. We really, really could. But to be fair, Maguire and Bailly doing well, but can you really trust Bailly to keep his fitness? I don't think you can. Matthew says that we are better than Bayern Munich. Well, I wouldn't go that far, mate. I wouldn't go that far. Bria Rashford says Watford Van der Beek has to play, not Bruno. I mean, if Van der Beek doesn't play against Watford, I do not know why he's come to this club. I mean, I would probably support him in leaving the club at this point, because there's no way that a player of that quality should be sitting away, rotting on the bench at Manchester United. He should be playing. He's probably got the ability to play week in, week out as well. And I'm not just saying that. He has got the ability to be playing week in, week out for a top six side. Yet he's sitting on the bench. And we're playing well at the moment, so I'm not complaining too much. You can't really complain when Bruno Fernandes is putting in the performances that he is putting in. But to have someone like him sitting on the bench, we bought him in for £45 million, somewhere around there, and he's sitting on the bench. I just feel sorry for him. I really, really do. So I agree with you, mate. He needs to be playing against Watford. But I also think there's a place for him in the team against Man City. I'm not sure what you guys think, but I do think there's a place for him in the team in this game tomorrow. Whether Ollie sees it that way, I'm not sure. It all depends on whether he's focused on the league or whether he's hoping for a trophy. And I'm sure he's hoping for both, but we'll have to wait and see, of course. LSR says, just like the Fred agenda that he dropped so he could hate on McTominay. Yeah, obviously that's not addressed to me, I don't think. Kobe says, Van der Beek is 10 times the player McTominay is. Well, listen, McTominay recently hasn't been doing too bad, but I think, you're right in that Van der Beek has got a lot more technical ability than Scott McTominay has. It's just about, they have different styles in terms of McTominay's a lot more kind of, solid, but he's a lot, I don't know. It's one of those things where you could argue they play different positions as well, but I still think technically you're right. Van der Beek is, I wouldn't sure I'd say 10 times, but he's definitely a huge amount better than Scott McTominay in terms of technical passing ability. But it seems like Solskjaer trusts McTominay a lot more, which, tells you a lot, really. Bria Rashford says if Pogba gets injured, somehow he'll rise. I hope so. I hope he does. And I think Pogba recently has been playing really well. In the Aston Villa game, for example, he was going to get man of the match before Eric Bailly made that heroic block. And to be honest with you, with the reaction of the players, you feel like Eric Bailly fully deserved his man of the match award. So, for me, I'm happy that Pogba's playing well. Obviously, we had a lot of discussions about Paul Pogba before the January transfer window opened, saying, whether, we should let go of him. We should finally, let the butterfly fly. If you love something, let it free, they say. And maybe we should have done that with Paul Pogba. But actually, he's proving to be, a decent part of this squad right now. He's playing well. And as long as he's playing well, I don't think anyone's got a problem. But we need to see this consistently. And if we do start to see this consistently, we could really do something. Because Paul Pogba, on his best form, as we've always talked about, is a hell of a player. So if we can get Pogba on his best form with Bruno Fernandes on his best form, we could have one of the best midfields in world football. And that's not me making an overstatement. That is 100% factual, in my opinion. Obviously, that kind of contradicts itself, factual in my opinion. But you know what I'm saying. Kasai, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? And Rich, how you doing? Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Make sure you check out Rich Sports if you haven't already. Great stuff over there. I'll be on there as well for the preview for the Manchester Derby. Of course, I'm doing one right now. But Rich's channel, that's a place to be at 10:30. Make sure you go check it out if you haven't already. I'm looking forward to it. Matthew says, LSR Premium Slow. I don't hate on McTominay. isn't starting 11 quality. Yeah, obviously that's not. I don't know what to say about that. Donny van der Bench, says Rich. Yeah, I mean, as of right, I mean, this is what frustrated me, and I'm sure it's frustrating other United fans as well. You know, the fact we brought him in, and in games where he could have easily been in the team, you know, games which really shouldn't have caused us that much bother, where Van der Beek in some cases could have improved the way we played, and he doesn't even get off the bench. You know, at least towards the start of the season, he wasn't starting, but at least he was getting a 20-minute cameo. He's not even getting that anymore. So I really don't know what Ollie's thinking on that sense. I'm not, you know, digging Ollie out or anything, because, you know, the teams he's picking are doing fairly well right now, so I can't really complain too much about that. But you have got to look at the fact that Donny van der Beek, what is it, you know, £40 million isn't being started, sitting on the bench and not even getting a cameo off the bench. It's worrying times for him. I'm sure he'll get better. I'm sure, you know, there will be a place for Donny van der Beek. For example, if one of our important midfielders gets injured, if one of Pogba, Fernandes, if one of Pogba or Fernandes gets injured, he's straight in there. So I'm sure that's what Ollie's thinking with Van der Beek. But at the same time, he's too good of a player to just be sitting on the bench like that. I feel like he could get into most of the top sides starting 11. I really do think that. Rash for the dub. Yeah, I hope so, mate. Hopefully, you know, obviously you've been very high praising of Marcus Rashford. Hopefully he can you know, show us why you praise him that highly. And, you know, Rashford has been very lively as of late. He has been very, very lively. He's not been doing too badly. But one thing I would say about Rashford is his end product can be a little bit frustrating. You know, sometimes he passes when he should be shooting, and sometimes he does the opposite. So that is the most frustrating things. But if you look at some of the stuff he was doing against Villa, he was getting into really dangerous areas and he was doing some really good runs. But when it got to the final bit, you know, the shot or the final pass, he wasn't able to execute it. And that's the thing that frustrates us, really, because we know that as a team, we will create a lot of chances. It's just about whether we finish our chances. And if we don't finish our chances, then we'll lose the game because our defence isn't strong enough to keep clean sheets. So we need to take those chances. So whenever we do squander those chances, it's very, very frustrating indeed. K-Size says, we'll win on pens probably. I doubt it, mate. Our penalty record is absolutely shocking. Kobe says, how far in the pecking order do you think Donny is? Well, I think it probably goes Fernandes, Pogba, then Van der Beek. I feel like Van der Beek is third in that sort of position. But I think Van der Beek is the Bruno replacement, and Bruno is irreplaceable right now. Unfortunately for Donny van der Beek, that's how it is. Bruno Fernandes is probably on form the best player in the Premier League right now. So, you know, you can't really replace Bruno Fernandes. So it's difficult for Donny van der Beek because obviously he knows he's got the quality. He could be playing for most top six sides. But when you've got someone like Bruno Fernandes in front of you, it's difficult to get into the team. So, you know, it's one of those. It's one of those where, you know, I think he'll understand why he's not being in the team, but he will be frustrated, as every player should be, when they're not getting game time. You know, your careers are short in football. You want to play as much as possible. And he could be at Real Madrid, you know, probably still in the Champions League as well, which, you know, obviously we don't want to talk about too much because I don't want to bring back the memories. But yeah, Van der Beek, I do feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him because I feel like Van der Sar did kind of push him out of the door and send him to Old Trafford. But at the same time, I do see why he's not getting in the team. I can see the logic behind it. But you'd hope that in these next two cup games he can have a decent role, at least off the bench, at least. Kesai says, I don't know who's winning. This is weird, man. I think we're better and fitter. Of course, you know, Man City have had a bit of a problem with the COVID-19 outbreak, so that might slow them down, of course. But it's all about what happens on the day. I mean, you think that Chelsea would have been a lot fitter and better than Man City when they played, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? But it didn't happen that way. It just did not happen that way. You know, Man City absolutely toyed with Chelsea. They took them apart. And you think that after the COVID outbreak, you know, you think that Chelsea would have put up a much better fight. But Man City were absolutely scintillating. And it hurts me to say that as a Man United fan, but they were scintillating in that game. So you can't just, you know, say, oh, well, we should be fitter or whatever. So, in these sort of cup games, when you're playing against the likes of Pep Guardiola, who's been there and done it so many times before, it's not going to be easy regardless of when we played or when we didn't play. Shakir robbed us of the Champions League in 2013. Never forget. We won't forget it, Matthew. We won't forget it. Thanks for reminding us. Kobe said, I think Donny is our replacement for Pogba. Could be. I've heard that suggested. But the thing is Pogba going to move now? Is he going to move? Or is any club going to pay the money for Paul Pogba? That's the second question. Rich says, loaded midfield with Van der Beek will get games, I'm sure. I hope so, and I'm sure that Ollie will give Van der Beek games, because when you've got someone like that on your bench, you've got to use him at some point. Everyone's asking for Owen. Where's Owen? Where's Big O? Rich says Big O appears when you're not expecting it. Yeah, he does. He does appear when you're not expecting it. So who knows when he'll appear on this stream? Maybe you'll see him in that reflection. Who knows? Who knows? It's always great to. It's always good to. To have surprises. Hopefully, it keeps you watching. But I'm going to go through my kind of thoughts on usually on this channel we don't do predicted 11s. We just kind of talk about who I'd pick. But it's not really a full predicted 11, if you know what I mean. It's more of like a kind of, who I would start, who I wouldn't start. So let's just go through that. Let's start with the goalkeeper position. And we've already talked a little bit about that, so I won't spend too much time on it. Obviously, you've got De Gea and you've got Henderson. Those are the two guys who, everyone's, those are the two that people are going to be debating. And I feel like, I wouldn't be too disappointed with Dean Henderson. I wouldn't be too disappointed with Dean Henderson starting. Obviously you've got people saying that De Gea is the better keeper, and he is the better keeper. But Henderson needs game time as well, and I feel like one of the reasons he did make that mistake was because of the lack of game time. When you're a goalkeeper, you need that consistent game time to have, to kind of build some momentum behind you and build some confidence. So I wouldn't mind seeing Henderson in goal. I really wouldn't. So let's go Henderson in goal. I think the back four won't be too dissimilar to what we saw against Aston Villa. I think we will rest a few players. I think Telles will come back in for Luke Shaw. But other than that, I don't think I don't think we'll see too many changes, because Ollie will look to go for this trophy. There's no doubt about it. So I don't think we'll see too many changes. Queso says, "Are you guys twins?" Well, technically we're not. But we pretty much are. But actually, someone you don't see is we. I'm actually a triplet, and I've also got an older brother. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Obviously, you kind of come up with your own theories, but I'm going to say we're not actually twins technically. But I'll leave you at that. I'll drop that one into you. Sean from the Worldwide Red Show. Thanks for joining, Sean. Appreciate it. He says, what's good, bro? How was New Year? It was good. Obviously a bit muted because of the whole COVID situation. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. Obviously, hoping to get this year off to a flying start. Hopefully, we're going to have a good time. Hopefully it gets better. But I can't remember who sang the song, but hopefully things only get better. I think it was Take That that did that song. Either Take That or Robbie Williams, I can't remember. Hopefully things get better in the new year, and hopefully all you guys having a good 2021. I know it's difficult. I know, obviously, Boris Johnson over here came with the statement yesterday saying that, plunging us into another lockdown. It's difficult. It's difficult. But you gotta just try and get on with it the best you can, really. Just got to keep going, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll keep pumping out the content for you guys, and hopefully this sort of interaction will help you guys kind of take your minds off things for a little bit and talk about Man United. So hopefully we can do that. I'm not even going to read out Owen's comment. Okay, so we've talked about Henderson or De Gea. I went with Dean Henderson, but I wouldn't mind that. As I said, it's one of those ones where, for me, either or with that one. They're both decent keepers. I don't see Henderson, making too much of a cock up of things. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, and if it does, then fair enough. But I feel like Henderson, even though he didn't have the best of games against his former club, Sheffield, I think he's still a decent keeper, and I feel like he would do a decent job in this game. So I'm happy with Dean Henderson to go in goal if Ollie does look to rotate. But if he doesn't, then David De Gea is fine as well. Obviously, we have to remember, this is a cup semi-final. This isn't just any normal game. Even though it's the Carabao Cup, this is the Cup semi-final. So you got to think about that. You got to think about that. Blade EU, thanks for joining, Blade EU. Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. D-Ream apparently did the song. D-Ream, of course. That band. I recognise the band. I recognise the band, Rich. But yeah, it was something along those lines. I know I said Take That, which was probably about 10 years too late for that band. Or 10 years later than D-Ream were a thing. But at the same time, who knows? Who knows? Oh, of course, Brian Cox is in the band. There you go. I'll tell you what, he's a philanthropist, scientist, and he's pumping out bangers like that. Things will only get better. Hopefully things do get better in 2021, of course. So as I said, I don't think the defence will change too much. I think it would be sensible to sub Maguire or Bailly, just because, Bailly in particular is ridiculously injury prone. We need to wrap him in cotton wool because that guy is so good for us. And I think that I read something somewhere that the Maguire and Bailly partnership got 8 clean sheets out of their last 11 games. That is ridiculous, and that should be a sign to Ollie about what is needed in this centre-back partnership. Maybe Maguire's not the problem. Maybe they need a good. He just needs a good partner. Maybe that's it. Maybe Maguire isn't the problem. Maybe if he's got a good partner next to him, we can be right. Blaze says, I think De Gea should play. Dean didn't do well against Sheffield, and we didn't risk him. And we shouldn't risk him being bad again. Yeah, that's a fair point. It's a fair point. Obviously, he didn't really have the best of games against Sheffield, but overall, I don't think he's a bad keeper. I think he showed for Sheffield last season that he can do a job, and I wouldn't be mad if he got in the team. I would not be mad at all. But I think Ollie will probably go for De Gea, but I'd be happy with Henderson. I'm not gonna lie. So as I said, I don't think the defence is going to change too much. Obviously, I saw Kobe up here saying something about Telles, saying no Telles, he'll get exposed by Sterling. Well, that's obviously, defensively Telles isn't exactly the best. Going forward, he does offer us something, but defensively he has been known to get caught out, especially at the back post. But Sterling hasn't got a good record against us, so maybe it's just not his time. Maybe it's the perfect time to put someone up against Raheem Sterling, because historically he's not been good anyway, so any defender will do well against him. But let's just look at the forward options, and I'll give you my match prediction, and then we'll leave it there for tonight. The forward options, obviously, Cavani cannot play in this game, so it looks like it's going to be, Greenwood and probably one of Rashford and Martial. I think he will look to play Marcus Rashford in this game, Manchester lad, someone who knows the fixture and has a decent record in this fixture, actually. So I think he will go with Rashford, and I think he will go with Martial up front. As I said, I feel like if I was going to predict, I don't think Ollie's going to make too many changes from the side we saw against Aston Villa, because he'll want a trophy. And even if people say, oh no, rest players for the league, he's going to want a trophy. No doubt about it. So I think we'll see Rashford and Anthony Martial up front as a bit of a pairing. And I think it'll be a very similar lineup as we saw against Aston Villa. However, I feel like if we do play that lineup, it does leave us open a little bit. You saw how Man City absolutely opened up Chelsea with a vengeance at Stamford Bridge on Sunday evening. We can't have that happen to us. We really can't have that happen to us. So we need to make sure that we can create chances, which we will, but we need to make sure we're defensively sound as well. Blaze says, do you know who we're buying on, what defenders we are buying on the transfers? I'm not sure, to be honest. I've heard, obviously, Upamecano. I've heard Ben White's name mentioned, Badiashiel's name mentioned. So there's a few in the offing. But as I said to these guys before, I don't think that we're going to buy anyone substantial in January. I just don't see it happening. Obviously, we did it last January with Bruno Fernandes, but I just don't see, with the situation as it is currently and the fact that the board have been using the excuse of lack of funding as a reason why we didn't bring in certain targets in the summer, I just don't see anything happening in January, which is a shame, because if something did happen in January, we could really make a push for this title. We really could, because I don't think we're too far away now. Rich says Shaw's been pretty good going forward recently. He has. I think Shaw's actually done well. I'm not sure whether it's the composition of Alex Telles, but actually he's done well ever since he came on against Wolves, I think it was. I think at half time. He was doing well. He's done very well. So hopefully he can continue that. And Rick says City will be wary of the counter again. I think it will be a very dull game again. I don't see it being a gung-ho game where it's like finishing 5-4. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Man City will be aware of the counter-attack, and I feel like it will be very similar to what we saw in the Premier League game, which is frustrating for the neutral, but ultimately, however we get the result, I don't care, as long as we get the result and get through to the final, because I want to see United in the final, I really do. But I'm going to give my score prediction and then we will be out of here. I've been live for about half an hour, so I'll give my score prediction and then we'll be out of here. So you can leave your score prediction in the live chat and the comment section down below, of course, as usual. But I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Manchester United. Obviously, the same scoreline as when we last beat Man City at Old Trafford in the league. Of course, when Anthony Martial and a goal from Scott McTominay, of course. Scott McTominay got us over the line in that one. So a 2-0 win, I reckon. I feel like Man City, the fitness will catch up with them, in my opinion. I think that, obviously you can't say that a team's not going to be fit, but I do think that it does have some sort of effect. So I feel like with our quality going forward, and with Man City's, they've got incredible quality. But I just think that if we play the right way, we should have Man City beat here. But who knows? I am worried. The reason why I'm kind of stirring a little bit is because I'm worried that I don't want to seem confident before a game, because every time I seem confident, we always lose. We always, end up falling on our face. So I'm not sure if I should be confident in my prediction. I'm not sure if I should just predict a draw and be done with it. But I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. KSI goes with 3-1 to Man City. I don't like that, KSI, mate. I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Kobe says 2-1 to United. He also says the De Bruyne goal against Chelsea was similar to the one against Istanbul. Yeah, it was very similar. But Man City against Chelsea was scintillating, especially in that first half. They just cut Chelsea apart. Some of their passing was superb. The only thing you can hope is that, they're not as fit. Obviously, with the COVID situation they've had at their club, the outbreak, the lack of players, that's the only hope for us, really. But if we play the system where we frustrate, like we did against Man City the past few times, we should be right, because they struggle to play against that low block. So if we do provide a little bit of a low block and provide, a bit more of a sturdy defence against Man City, we should be fine. We should be absolutely fine. Because I feel like we are very, very good at creating chances right now, and if it's just about whether we take them. Red Devil Studio, thanks for watching, G, appreciate it. Make sure to check out Red Devil Studio. Just saw his preview before I went live, so make sure you do check out his preview for the Manchester Derby. He says, we will be very defensive, I think. I expect the draw and a win on penalties. And also Rich says the same thing. He says he might change his layer, but he's going with a 1-1 penalty stress coming up maybe. So a lot of people seem to be thinking that we're going to go penalties, which I hope we don't. I really can't just go through that right now. I just cannot go through a Man United penalty shootout, especially against Man City. If we lost a penalty shootout home to Man City, God, it'd be a dark day indeed. It'd be a dark day. We're already having dark days as it is without football. Kobe says, did you hear about the 5 subs rule? Yep, there's going to be 5 subs available in the semi-finals. So that is something to look out for. And we should, look in a good way, because we have got the depth. Man City have also famously got depth as well. But, we finally have the depth that it can actually improve us. Before, if the 5 sub rule was introduced last season, we would have been like, what's the point? What, bring on Dan James and Andy Perry, Andres Pereira? Like who if this came into effect last season, who would we be bringing on realistically that was going to change the game? No one really. So I'm happy that we've got 5 subs. The league isn't cancelled, KSI. Don't worry, the league isn't cancelled. I don't know what's going to happen, but I doubt they're going to cancel it anytime soon. Oh wow, that's good. We have the depth of 5 subs. Exactly. We do have a much better depth. As I said, if that rule came last season, it would have been useless for us, absolutely useless. And Rich says, have City got enough players for 5 subs? You know, that's a great question. That's a great question. Maybe just about, but just about. But yeah, hopefully, you know, they're not. They don't. Hopefully, they're a little bit unfit. That's the only thing that's gonna, you know, help us really. Because City, they're great operators. They're quality players. You know, you can't, you know, just because they don't have a recognised striker doesn't mean they don't score goals. Look at the game against Chelsea. They could have had, you know, 7 or 8 in that game. Chelsea were pretty poor, but, you know, regardless, they carry such a threat even without having a recognised striker. So that's something to look out for. But guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to this channel and all the channels that I mentioned if you haven't already as well. And make sure you leave your thoughts if you're watching as a video in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, of course. And we'll see you after the game. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll see you later. Cheers.